Welcome back, everybody, to Fox and Royal Gaming, and I'm here with more Vampire. Right, I'm in the hospital. Shush.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Yes. I don't know how to water it, though. What do I need for this again? Handle part, lead rod. Right, the shotgun. $15, $15, $15, $20. Okay. Oh, it must be damage thing. Right then. I think I'll sell that. Okay. Dorothy, was it? How can I help you?
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis,
What is
you
it?
say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly
Oh.
depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the
That
war
was a bit
and now
harsh,
this
dude.
epidemic, supplies have
That
been
is not
running
what I
scarce
thought
for
that was going to
months now.
say.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
I feel like that's a subtle jab at her.
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key.
Sanitary.
It opens a small
No,
back
it's
entrance
infested
at the
with
end of a narrow
vampire
street.
thralls, or skulls.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
All right. Should probably talk with everyone first, though. I said I would last time. Oh, what's this? Okay. Nurses needed. Hello. Thomas Elwood.
Disgust on every...
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No,
Did you get
I
face
don't
burns?
think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head
I don't
surgeon
know if he
here.
cares, Jonathan.
War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Surprised you survived that.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave.
Huh?
It was an accident.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Ah. Okay.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Okay.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Ah, it's a psychological.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
I could mesmerize him and consume him.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
Fair enough.
Why do
if I
you
can ask
feel
him again.
responsible?
I wasn't
Okay.
Why?
Come on. I
Reconstruct.
don't want to wear...
I see, so I can't ask him that stuff again.
Goodbye
Goodbye.
for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. The pain.
Oh, hey, it's Sean. That was
Good
his
evening,
name.
Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite.
You were in
a
shock
little
as
delirious,
well.
perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief.
I wonder if he was fed
Now
on.
all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Alright.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare.
I like his voice.
No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss
Hawcroft, huh?
Hawcroft.
Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers Trade Union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Oh?
Who leads the
Interesting.
gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his
Clay
wife
Cox.
Edwina who runs the show. With the
Oh,
assistance
isn't that
of
the
her
guy that
minion,
I just-
Booth Digby.
Spoke to outside?
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah,
Almost
no.
consumed him?
I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Unless they're delirious or something.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel
So he
empty.
did feed on you.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir.
Accidentally
I
gives
believe
him the
all I
wrong
need is
blood
rest,
type.
and then I can go back to the people who need me.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor.
So
A
it
cross
must be
is no
something special
magical
either
token,
about
if
Dr.
that's what you were
Swansea
trying to say.
or
Not
the
mine, anyway.
cross he had.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss
Maybe
Harriet
it's the cross
Jones.
itself.
I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a
Or
miserable life.
combination.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Interesting.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton.
Well, good talk.
We'll talk again later.
Give me some information. I believe there is someone in there. The door's locked. Intriguing. Hello.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor.
Pippa.
I don't think we've been introduced yet.
Nope. I'm
My
just making
name
the
is
rounds.
Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How long have you been a nurse?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
I mean,
You're right.
can try.
When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Nurse Brannigan.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and
Has
patients.
any staff
You're
been
running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual.
Seems like I gotta talk to
Especially
him.
concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it
Well, you
just
said
an act?
grumpy.
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Ooh. Mediocre, okay.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Alright. Okay.
Goodbye,
Guess that's
Nurse
it, until I
Hawkins.
find more information about you. And I will, believe me. It's Nurse Crane. Anything new?
Yes, Doctor?
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies. But with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
I detected a hint of an accent.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded-up building behind the hospital. You can't miss it. The key I gave you will open the small
I didn't
back
really
door
need to
it.
ask that, but
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
that's a pretty eye color. You must be what's her face? That the burn guy said was addicted to
Good
blood.
evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal.
Ah,
You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you
She also
begging
has
for,
blue eyes.
mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
for a vampire, you're not very. You're easily mesmerized.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a
I
vampire.
don't think
No,
she's
it's
an
such a
actual
long
vampire.
time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Sure.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
Nah,
It's
she
only
just
cover.
walked in.
To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
Garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see.
Say it louder, lady.
Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Ooh. That's interesting. I don't think she's a vampire, but since she's been spouting it off, maybe the Pruin is suspecting her of one.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of pustulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howard?
Hot odds.
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Interesting. Well, goodbye.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Okay. Wait. That must be... No, I have no idea. You, sir. Who might you be?
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed,
Dr. Strickland.
Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir. Thank you. And you are? I am Thoreau Strickland. Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Thanks. Ooh, mesmerized level 4.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself? I'm a great admirer of your work concerning
You said
blood
that already?
transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Experiments?
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours? I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful. As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail. You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
It could be. I'm not a doctor. What was he experimenting with?
What made you choose to be a doctor? I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side. I'll give you some advice, but understand that nothing beats practical experience, which can be exhausting and solitary work. Of course, sir. And don't worry, I will never allow myself to be a burden, neither to you nor this hospital.
He has the enthusiasm, at least.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke? Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion. You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times. I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science. Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation. True. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Milton.
Do you need help with anything in particular? Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research.
Great, I'm gonna be a courier.
Seems to have vanished. Do you want me to play the errand boy for you? Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need. I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Okay.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques. Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him. What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point? Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Mr. Fiddick.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral. I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior.
Dan
a man who
Aykroyd?
did not even take time to converse with his patient. Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake? All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears.
Imagine it's a
Not
delicate
some
balance
biological
between
machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
being impartial and making a connection.
Tell
So
me,
you don't
Mr.
want to get too
Fiddick's
close.
story. Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident. But why would he hide such crucial information from us? Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Harvey Fiddick. Okay. Is that it? Yep. Goodbye.
Dr. Strickland.
You must be the person we were just talking
Good
about.
evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
Did you hurt
I'm
your
Harvey
arm?
Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Did it get broken or?
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing
Guess
about
I'll
your
find out.
case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Okay.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about your injury, Harvey.
Just yell at him.
Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me.
Oh.
And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Interesting. Died during the war.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
Let me traumatize you even
1915.
more, Harvey.
I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were
Probably
small.
traumatized.
The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Well, that's that
Goodbye
on
for
that.
now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book. I never could keep it.
Must be Dr. Swansea. Hello. Pardon my intrusion, or don't. I don't care.
Good evening, madam.
I'm gonna poke
Can I
in your
help you?
business and
It's my
discover all
son
your
who needs
secrets.
you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Whew. She's gonna be quite valuable in terms of experience if I chose to feed on her.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace.
If
I can
she's so
cover any
rich, why is
needed
she still
medical
here?
expenses.
Couldn't she have just left?
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession.
Oh, she's a teacher.
I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Oh. I see.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I see.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Okay.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
I'll talk to your son, I guess.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here, then?
I don't want to talk. My throat
I
hurts
see.
too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I hope you're not talking to me because we're in our own little sound bubble. Also, Mortimer, I know you said your throat hurts, but I'm going to continue to force you to talk for my benefit.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful, I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Did he drink something?
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
But in the circumstances,
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what
She's
my
one of
mother is capable
those
of.
parents.
She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Okay.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Doctor.
What a blundering idiot. With you at our side, Dr. Reed, I know
Are
that
you
Pembroke
still
will
alive?
prevail and survive this epidemic.
I don't know, you're not moving or blinking, so you're alive, okay. For better or for worse. Are you Mr. Ackroyd? I believe so.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome
Waverly.
aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swans's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Rude.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
What have you wasted your time doing?
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Since your tenure
Keep
in
telling
this
yourself
hospital
that,
is
buddy.
longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
If you say so.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. Thank you for your time.
Goodbye.
We'll talk later.
Kind of rude, but okay. And we're back out here.
So many deaths.
You disgust.
And what of my own?
I believe there was one other person. Come on. Is she in that tent out there? Right, the dude who doesn't like doctors. I believe I can get out there front. Oh no, it's her. It's a nurse?
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research.
Okay.
He is convinced it is the future.
I mean, it saved many lives.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a
Most
gift
of them.
for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met
Dr.
someone as
Tippett.
dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Sure. How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive?
I mean, if I
We are
consume
all
all of the
volunteers here,
core
and we're
individuals
trying
in
to
the
hold
hospital,
fast, but
yes, they will all die
how
from the
do we
epidemic.
beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Goodbye,
All right, that's
nurse.
it. Goodbye.
Call me if you need assistance.
Mr. Ambulance Driver, are you accessible to this point? No? Oh,
It's
wait.
safer here than any...
Hello.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during
Do
the
I have
war
the gun on
and
me?
have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
So you're a smuggler.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Okay.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything. And it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It's because they're not.
It sounds like
human
things have been
anymore.
a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing in. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. That's quite the name. Let's trade.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Are those crafting materials? How many shillings? 99. 32, 66. Oh, no, 64. I can get all three of these. What is this? It's a shotgun. expensive. I'll buy the crafting materials instead. Now I am poor. 1 shilling. Wow. Grease. Ah, ranged weapon mechanism. Like, you do get a decent amount of shillings from the pre-win enemies. Ooh, you're behind the cover. Or is that a wall? That's a wall, okay. Resources. Don't mind if I do. Something else? No, it's just the light. Okay. Open society. Hello,
Scowl
Scar.
voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Nummy, you're mine. Hey, I parried you. Rude. Revenge for feeding on me. Stupid creature. Blood samples. Who's Harriet? Get up here. Can I get inside from here? Break a window, perhaps? I know how to parry, thank you. I think he's immune to fall damage. The skull. No, he's facing me. Okay. I'm out of stamina. I parry. What the heck, man? Rude. I think I'll stick with this then. Wrong button. Here we go. Give me the steak. I'll go with this. What building is this? Doesn't say. Okay. Definitely gets the morgue. Is this just the hospital? No. Just a thoroughfare, perhaps? Think so. Alright then. There's 2. Go for the weak one first. Did I get both? I did. Neat. Interesting ability. Oh, your stamina regenerates while you're feeding. Fantastic. Huh. I broke a bench. That's rude. Oh, there's a wallet in the garden? Ooh, hoo, hoo. Bullets. Great. Shotgun shells. Okay. Nope. Okay. You could just easily hop that little short wall. Hello? Is this the morgue? No, this is the hospital. So this is the morgue. Doors. Those are some big doors. Fade to black? Alright, still in the same district. Useful medicinal ingredients. The looting of this building is going to have to wait until the next episode. Vampyre is a good game. I like the story and the lore and everything. Hopefully you guys are too. If you are, maybe consider liking and subscribing. And if you do, you'll see me next time. Goodbye.